Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for a playoff match of the Pacific Nations Cup. Now, these two sides, Samoa and USA, both missing out on the semi-finals of the competition, but it is all not lost because whoever wins this game, they will qualify for the Rugby World Cup 2027. The loser will go into the repechage, which is a whole heap of uncertainty. The side that is already in there are Chile, and I believe the loser of this game would play the Chileans next week. I could be wrong with that, but of course the easiest way to get yourself to that World Cup is just win this contest and then go from there. This game being played at a little bit of altitude. It's away from home for the Samoans. They are still considered as the favourites though, and after a couple maybe not quite the best performances in the Pacific Nations Cup, they will certainly look to bounce back here up against a USA side, I should say, who did lose both of their games. Looking through at Samoa. Starting lineup, it is Aki Seuli in the front row alongside Latero Tolai and also Michael Alatoa. That man has been to a World Cup before and he would love nothing more to then get to the next one. Ben Nini alongside Michael Curry in the locking duo. Olajuwon Noah at 6. Alamanda Matonga as the number 7 and then Patelo Mapu finishing out the 4-pack. He is the number 8 in the 9 jersey. It is going to be Tupai, that is Connor Tupai, and number 10, Rodney Yona. Henry Teifu alongside, it is Nanai at 13. He's actually been really strong throughout this Pacific Nations Cup. Had some very nice runs. Always looks like a threat when the ball is in hand. Tuna Tuitama out on one wing. Of course, this man has actually played up against some USA guys in the 7 setup, but now he's playing in the 15s. Alofipo out on the right wing, and then Lolangi Vision. Yeah, some good experience there. And that number 15 kit for the USA. Like I said, they haven't quite had the competition that they would have liked in the Pacific Nations Cup. The Canadians managing to get themselves the win in the first match, but in the front row, it is going to be Escaro alongside Pifatelli, or Pifaletti, I should say, and Davis slotting in as the 3. I think where the USA are going to be so dangerous, though, is the pace in the back 3. Fricker out on one wing, McLean out on the other, and then also Mitch Wilson as the number 15. Everything else, though, has to gel. And that is where I do feel Samoa, I don't know, they have that little bit more chemistry going on at the moment. I think that their last game up against the Fijians, they were good for a majority of that game. And then in the last kind of 15, 20 minutes or so, that's where they dropped off. And that could be such a concern at altitude. This side, they will be hoping to go the full 80. And if they can, it's going to be a tough game for both of these sides. These are the recent results, though. As you can see there, Fiji, they were able to beat the Samoans in the most recent game of the Pacific Nations Cup. That one sitting 29 points to 15 in favour of the Flying Fijians. Tonga able to also beat Samoa, and that was 30 points to 16. So actually a pretty similar margin in that regard. 14 points in both games for the Samoans. So I think that if they come out early up against the USA, who have conceded a lot of points so far throughout this Pacific Nations Cup, 81 in total from their 2 games. That is exactly their way of getting forward. In this match, Japan were able to beat the USA 47 points to 21. Canada winning that one by the common denominator number in 14. But overall, it's going to be a great game. Looks like a great afternoon as well. Over in the USA, it is 12:35 local time. And it looks like a really nice game in Colorado. Could be on the cards. Now, there's a bit of altitude, like I said. So that will start to fatigue these two sides. But this is the way that the table sat for both of the groups. So pretty much anyone who made it to the semi-final, which are the 2 games covering later on tonight on the channel, Fiji versus Canada, as well as Japan versus Tonga. Those sides have all already qualified for that Rugby World Cup in 2027, taking place in Australia. And for these other sides, there's still a little bit on the line and some more business that needs to be done out there on the park to be able to secure that overall spot. But points differential, the advantage goes the way of Samoa currently. Now, there's no guarantee that that is a fair indication of how these two sides match up. But no matter what, they will both be rearing to go. We do see there Malani Matavao. He will be making his way off the bench alongside the hugely experienced Christian Leliofano. Now, believe it or not, he hasn't got a huge amount of international experience for Samoa, but of course, internationals for the Aussies, he has done it before, and he'd love nothing more than to make it to that 2027 Rugby World Cup. But I'm in a very chatty mood. We will see what you guys have said in the chat as well. I'm still says 10 waiting. Who are the other 9, says Bruce. And also we have got there Also, I hope I don't get cooked. I have Samoa minus 6.5. Says Reeves, you look very tired. Says Maya Dean, that is because we are going to be doing the second all-nighter in a row on the channel. We've still got another 3 games to go, including this one. We are just seeing the coin toss between Samoa and the USA, sitting less than the 10 minutes away from the start of this contest. Hi, Hamish, small break. Did you eat something? I did. Managed to get myself something quickly, but now ready to go for, of course, this next one. But USA bloody strong as well. They are. I think that both of these sides thoroughly deserve to be at that next World Cup, definitely with the fact that it is an extended competition. Now, it's a tricky one because I like seeing a lot of these lower sides. The likes of a Chile, I thought that they were great, getting to take part in that last Rugby World Cup competition, so I'd love to see them there too, but it's just a case of not everyone can make it, unfortunately. But for Samoa and rugby in general, already getting demoted down into Division 3 of the 7 circuit, like they need this World Cup. USA, they are going to be hosting the 2031 Rugby World Cup. Of course, that is automatic qualification for the US, but they also would want to be there for this 2027 one. So it's a tough one, but that is the world of rugby. Sometimes the games mean a little bit more, and this one's going to mean a lot for these two sides. We have got the grey hoodie is wonderful. So here's Ruth. Thank you very much, Ruth. Do you regret doing the buzz cut deal? Not yet. I probably will after I get the buzz cut, but we'll see how it looks. It might be not as bad as I think it will be. Samoa 36-28 to the USA, says Ruth. And hi, all in Hamish. Go the USA, says Robert. As Scotland and Romania in the World Cup. I believe Scotland is. I'm not sure about Romania as of yet. But pretty much it is, I believe, the top 12 teams, as well as there's normally the top, I think it was 2 or 3 from last year's World Cup all qualify. So for the likes of a Scotland, I believe they were 3rd in that group with South Africa and Ireland. So it does mean that they actually do get themselves through on the automatic qualification side of things. But yeah, you will see the big teams at the World Cup. I don't think any major sides have missed out as of yet. We've seen the likes of a Hong Kong and a Zimbabwe both make their way through. America is bad at rugby, says Ethan, but Samoa will not think that one bit. They will go out there thinking that USA are the best team possible, because for Samoa to win this, they have to have that winning mentality. They can't go into this game thinking it's going to be easy, because that's when they normally would lose. We have got their Samoa will win the contest by 15 points. I mean, 35-20 in South Africa in the World Cup. They certainly are the defending champs, looking to defend their throne. Go through. So does the Sport of World Cup 2027 qualifying? It certainly is. Loser of this goes through to the repechage, which I believe Chile are already in. And then alongside that, there is still plenty more to do. I believe maybe 1 or 2 more matches after that as well. Hopefully we'll be able to keep you all updated in terms of what is happening. In that regard, we have got Samoa or USA. Well, Samoa coming as the favourites, but something that hasn't been mentioned about a huge amount when it comes to those betting odds is the altitude. Playing this game a little bit higher up, the Denver, Colorado, it means that, the lungs will start to burn earlier. And for someone like a Samoa, who are known for having a good start to a game and then their fitness does sometimes drop off, we've got to remember they don't play a lot of games at altitude. Whereas for these USA guys in the MLR, they've had that experience if they have played at this stadium or a few other locations around the US. We are going to have the national anthems, and then we will be right into the match, only 5 minutes away from the kickoff. And this contest, looking through at the benches, I already mentioned Milani Matabao, as well as it is in the number 22 jersey, Christian Leliofano, also Tomasi Alosio. He will be the other back replacements for the Samoans in the forward pack. They've got some very handy options. Ray Nuia, I think that lineouts will be so crucial for the Samoans. Actually something that they tried to use a bit up against Fiji and did find some success with. For the USA, there's some pure speed off of that bench. And I feel like later on in the game, if that is when Samoa do start to get slower and more tired, it could be exactly when the USA start to thrive in this type of match. We have got there how many teams still qualified for the World Cup, says Mornay. There's still quite a few. What we will quickly do, hopefully, with a little bit of luck while the national anthems are going on, World Cup 2027, 27 teams confirmed. Hopefully, if I type something like that in, it will give me the actual list of every single side that has already qualified. Because, of course, there are going to be 24 teams. We got any sort of information about all of the teams in the comp yet? Qualifying, this might help us a little bit, or maybe not. But the top 12 teams from the previous World Cup Argentina, Australia, England, Fiji, France, Ireland, Italy, Japan, New Zealand, Scotland, South Africa, and Wales have already qualified. We have also seen Georgia, Portugal, Romania, and Spain have qualified. Hong Kong has qualified. Zimbabwe has qualified. Uruguay has qualified. And at the moment, it just says Tonga and Canada for the Pacific. But of course, Fiji and Japan, because they were at the top, that is why they have also managed to go through. Chile will go up against the South America/Pacific winner. Whoever wins that game goes on to the World Cup. And then there is still one last competition for one final spot. So it's just easier to win here. You know, you got 80 minutes of rugby that could save you about probably thousands and thousands of miles of travel. How's Wales in the World Cup? Wales is in the World Cup, yes. Japan is in the World Cup. Japan is as well. We have got there how many teams? Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And who do you think is going to win, says Abel? See, Samoa are favourites, like I said, but I don't trust the Samoan side in the second half. I'll be honest, we've covered too many Samoan games where they have looked so strong and then they've let it slip. This could be one of them, but we'll wait and see. If they can put together a 60 to 75-ish minutes performance, of course it will be hard to put together 80 at altitude, but if they're somewhere up there, Samoa should be somewhere near winning this game. Because Wales is very bad. They may be bad, but they did luckily qualify in that World Cup draw because of the fact that they were third in their group. Yes, if you had to put America against the Springboks, what would happen? Springboks with Powerpuff over 200 points on them, says Ethan. And there as well. Although, to be fair, New Zealand played the USA a little while ago. I believe that one was a little bit one-sided. But, you know, it's really not a comparison that's easy to make. Because at the end of the day, two sides in very different places. It's like going, I'm going to put my 10-year-old son up against a 2-year-old. See what happens. You know, of course, you would assume that the team that, or the one who is more, I guess, developed and older would actually do quite well. And that's the same with the Springboks if they were to play the USA. Whoever wins the Men's Rugby World Cup is most likely between South Africa and New Zealand. I think there's more than just 2 teams. Sound of 5 more teams must still qualify. You mentioned 19 qualified already, says Morna. You've done very well with the maths there because I was just counting or rattling them off. So yeah, you've done well to count them as I said them. But two sides ready to go. Samoa going to lay down the challenge before the game. They've got Milani Mataval near the front. One of the USA players actually looks a bit like Franz Stein. Believe it or not. Of course, some of the viewers will know who that is, but anyone who is just tuning in now, for those who are in Samoa, good morning. Of course, an early morning start for this matchup. I believe a 7:35 a.m. kickoff, so only a couple more minutes till we get underway. For those in the USA, good afternoon, and of course, the ones in South Africa, good evening to you too. We have got there, how is USA these days? Haven't followed them at all, says Xander. They're a mixed team. You know, they can play quite well. Their game up against the Canadians, I think they'll be disappointed to have lost that, as I believe they came in as favourites for that matchup. Their game up against the Japanese, I do think on that side of the draw, Japan is definitely the strongest of everyone, although saying that, Japan, Canada, maybe a little bit closer than some were expecting. But yeah, overall, I would say that USA have all the skills to be great. It's just whether or not they are great. You know, they've got more than, they've got the skill, they have got the pace, they've got the power up front, but can they put it together to play a brilliant game of rugby? What about Ireland? Ireland has also qualified in the World Cup because of their finish in their group up high from the last World Cup competition. They automatically qualified through to the next stage, but the challenge has been laid down by the Samoans. We are now underway in this contest, ladies and gents. Let me know your score predictions. Like I mentioned, Samoa are slight favourites. They're expected, if they do win, to win by less than 7, which means we could have a thrilling contest heading down to the wire. It's a late night for us tonight, and early morning, says Mohadin. We have got their USA going to be very hard to beat here. Samoa, no silly mistakes, otherwise penalties, says Ruth. Yeah, their handling hasn't been the best lately, Samoa, and that is something that the USA, of course, will have to try and use to their advantage. And like they've said, they're a very exciting subs bench for Samoa, although a few handy players off the bench for the USA as well. I guess Samoa should win this convincingly, but maybe if they improve fast, they could be tough to put away, says NZ Riot about USA. Although, I wouldn't say Samoa should win it easily. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. mainly because this game also at altitude, and we know that sometimes Samoa's gas tank isn't as deep as they want it to be, and I just feel like that altitude factor may actually slow them down quite badly in the early stages, the late stages of the game. So where is this USA team? From the USA. Damien Schneider. I was interested about this choice at referee because he is Argentinian. Now, it's always talked about in the Rugby Championship. People ask, why don't we have any Argentinian referees? But perhaps this man, Fabian Schneider, we could see him in the next few years get that opportunity. But kicked off by the USA, and we are underway for this Pacific Nations Cup playoff game. Alo Fipo with the inside ball to Alo Juan Noah. And Samoa have first possession of the contest. And hello, NZ right. So here's a roof there, and the pole is big up on Samoa. So here's Big Rig, and they do come in as the slight favourites for this game. That one, kicking it towards the touchline and doing very nicely. This one's going to be around the halfway line now for the USA. I've just talked about that USA line-out, the lack of accuracy that it has had throughout this competition. Who do you think is the favourite for last 5 qualifiers, says Mornay? I would say whoever wins this game, of course, will go through, but the loser I would still give a very good shot of qualifying for the World Cup. Not the straightest line out there from the USA, but it is called as straight enough from the referee. Kick downfield from USA. Taken now by Lolangi Vizinier. A low tackle on him by Besak. And USA at home, Colorado. Says Ruth, and I have to go and cook. Be back later. Don't go away now. We have got plenty more games. That is for sure. 3 more in a row. Nice pierce and run there. And now an offload up into the hands of Rodney Ona. Initially it was Connor Tupai who broke the line, but they will go back for a penalty in favour of the Samoans. Is Samoa still suffering under bad management? There's few teams with a bigger difference between potential and performance. I'm not sure too much of the behind-the-scenes stuff for Samoa at the moment, but I do know they need this. You know, if they're not in that World Cup in 2027... honestly, I don't know where Samoan rugby go from here because they've already been knocked down to, like I said, Division 3 in the sevens. Even though with their strongest side, I believe they are still one of the best in terms of causing that upset from using their physicality and speed. But, you know, they're down in Division 3. USA are Division 2 next year for the sevens, or this year as well. So it is just very different in terms of where these two sides are at compared to where they would want to be. But, yeah, Samoa need that World Cup to even just still be even slightly competitive. Is Italy in the World Cup? They are indeed, yes. They finished 3rd in the group alongside France and New Zealand from that last World Cup competition. So they got themselves that qualification. Samoa sitting around the halfway line. Advantage again from the referee for being accidentally offside there for one of the USA players. Okay, 1 white, don't stand up. That is against Jack Iscaro, who has been penalised for that one just a little bit too early. He does not look happy. The last thing that you want to be doing is giving away these early penalties in situations like this. And it looks like Samoa with Rodney Yona. This seems like a kick for 3. Yes, it is. Decided that just get some sort of points on the board first. Samoa will feel like that. They are playing in Johannesburg with the high altitude, says Amorne. Wonder when was the last time Samoa played in South Africa? Out of curiosity, I can't even think of the last time that they've been over there. I see the Springboks played America 5 times in New Zealand. Played 5 times, says Ethan. But Rodney Yona, normally a decent striker of the ball. 3.5 minutes gone here in the contest. They've just talked about it. Hardly any wind to be able to contest with. So should be a nice easy day at the office for Rodney Yona. And that one's going to go over for him. Got the distance to at altitude, and that makes the score 3-0 now for the Samoans. So a good start to the match. Exactly what they would have been after. Get that foot in the door. Get some points going. Like they've just said, momentum now with Samoa. Also, we should mention few penalties in a row against the USA. The last thing that you want is that early yellow card. Keep that discipline in check. Kicked off by the US down towards the 22. Nicely taken by Tomasi. Or in fact, it is Eliza Peta Alofipo out on that right wing. Penalty already, says Roof. Yeah, we've already seen 2 or 3 up against the USA here. Double tackle on Patelo Mapu. Playing in that number 8 jersey and nicely rolling away in the breakdown from the USA, already learning from what the ref told them and saying, nah, we're not doing it again. Now chasing after this one, Fipo going up for the high ball, just not quite able to take it cleanly. Ball goes back for the USA, who are looking for the kick in behind. Just saying there that there might have been a knock on there from Samoa, but it has been called as play on due to USA kicking it downfield. Now Rufus McLean, he's got the man on the outside, but he's going to try and use his pace. Now offloads to his fullback, Mitch Wilson. Ball's going to stay in the field of play. That's a very good kick from Lulangi Vision. Yeah, in fact, that is an absolutely fantastic one from the Samoan fullback. Getting a few extra meters on that one. And we'll be down into the USA half now with their line out. Penalty already. It's the one from Roof as well. But do let me know, ladies and gents, will we see a yellow card in this game? If so, which team's going to get it? I still think Samoa. Unfortunately, they've probably got one in them for this game. USA a bit the same, though, if they keep on infringing. I could see it being 1-1 in that department. Now rolling maul here for the USA, trying to use it, fighting for that ball, and it's a great charge down from the Samoans. I believe they've called him as onside. No, never mind. It became the penalty. I was going to say, he came through the middle of the line out in the rolling maul, which is normally not allowed. You have to come from the back if you're going to try and charge it down. In your opinion, do you think the Springboks are going to do a clean wipe against Argentina? I think that because Argentina are playing South Africa at Twickenham, yes. Now, don't get me wrong, Argentina, fantastic side. Never know what you're going to get with them. But not having that home field advantage, even though they beat South Africa in Argentina last year, like that hurts for Los Pumas. We have got there, it could be a red card here. USA maybe, says Ruth. I think they both will get yellow, says Gus. And there as well. Now ready to throw this ball in. Oh, that's not straight at all. Unfortunately for Capelli Pifiletti in that number 2 jersey. The commentator has just said he's normally pretty money when it comes to those lineouts. About 25 metres from the line though now. Samoa are going to have themselves the scrum feed. I feel like this game's going to be a slow, steady builder. Whoever does gas out slower will probably win. It could be a red card here. And I think they will both get yellow, says Gus. And Argentina is tricky. Never write them off as a certain win, says Xander. Yeah, they are such an unpredictable team. And who knows, maybe playing in England will motivate them and they somehow, get themselves that win. But, yeah, it's certainly the case of New Zealand or Australia need 2 wins to be able to take out that rugby championship, or else I feel South Africa might be able to sneak it, get the job done. Samoa is some of the best players in the world. It's sad to see that most of them don't want to represent their nation, says Johnson. The saddest part is, as soon as that Rugby World Cup comes around, they all come bundling back. And they all go, I want to play for my country. We see it for Tonga as well. The guys who all said, yep, put my hand in the... Oh, that's a great kick from Samoa. That's a 50-22 there. Beautifully done. I have no idea how that wasn't going to be called as the line out, but yeah, when it comes around to that World Cup, yeah, everyone goes, yep, I'll play. I'll be happy to. And then that year after the World Cup, they all go overseas, they make their money, and then 3 years later, same cycle. And that's where, those guys right on the fringe, the young players who are willing to stick to the country and stay with the Samoan and Tongan side, they're the ones who really are unlucky. But then at the same time, if those older players are the ones that they expect will be able to get that World Cup, or at least closer to getting it, then it's a tricky decision to make for the ones in charge. But Samoa, that's going to be overthrown for their line out. Oh, that's an ugly collision. I think he's got back up there. Yes, he has. Henry Taifu, it looks like he's already had a bit of a battle. He's got the head wound with a bit of wrapping around it. Do you think Andre Pollard will be in the World Cup? I think so. He's young enough. I think a lot of people think Andre Pollard is a lot older than he is. But he's actually still, he's still a spring chicken, as they say. Pumas are too dangerous to write off either. Bok will need their wits intact. Did they say anything about the TMO getting Aussie 4 pass wrong? Taking away the bonus point on the log? I don't think they will. Like, they might say it was the wrong choice, but then they will say, look, the points have been scored, the points are there. So it will be intriguing to see what that does to the overall standings at the end. Now, nice backline here for Samoa. Lolangi Vizinia passes on the outside. Tuna Tuitama, ball back on the inside, but Lolangi Vizinia has dropped it and hasn't quite been able to regather it. Now, USA only sitting about maybe 7 metres out from their try line. And bad governmental management is not good for some countries' players, Samoa example. And Samoa last played in Johannesburg. It was 2007. 18 years ago. Gee, so it's been a little while. He paused the NFL to rant about it on the phone. My brother was big mad about that. Yeah, it's definitely controversial. Like normally, you know, when you see a controversial call in a game and you go, okay, bit controversial, but we'll move on with it. It didn't change the result. That one didn't change the result, but it did add 2 extra points for the Australians in the overall standings. So that can be crucial getting into the last moments of the comp. Definitely with it being all so close, everyone pretty much on identical points. Now, will be the scrum feed for Ruben de Haas. That's the 2 points when the championship is so close. Says Big Rick, exactly. You know, Australia is sitting number 1 on the table at this point in time. Now, big collision there on Tommaso Boni. There's a real chance Aussie might win the league by 1 point. Says Big Rig, and yeah, I think if they do, then that's when it's really going to be talked about. If Australia end up finishing, let's say, 3rd or 4th, it probably won't be mentioned a huge amount. But if it means that they either win or get 2nd, then there'll be a bit of talk. And now pass on the outside. It's going to be Eliza Pita Alofipo. Brilliant offload into the hands of Nanai. USA player down and sleeping by the looks of it. He looks like he's in a lot of pain at this point. Can't pretend to be mad at it. As live sports stuff happens, says Big Rig. 11 minutes in at the moment and another advantage going the way of Samoa. This is an easy 3 points if they do want it. I think first of all they're going to try and use their backline with Lotero Talai. I also don't see Aussies beating the All Blacks. Says Big Rig. I wouldn't guarantee it. I mean, New Zealand were pretty poor last game. Now big run foot. Oh my goodness. That is a collision and a half. He's got back to his feet, Mitch Wilson, but I think it was Aki Sauli just tried to run over the top of him. Interception pass thrown. But luckily they'll go back for the penalty, or else that was going to be a try down the other end for the USA from Hilsenbeck. They played the box last game, says Big Rig. And also we have their hard tackle, says Ruth. Aussies are not the box, says Big Rig. That is true. But they did also play Argentina and lost to them. And then Australia did beat Argentina. They played up against the Springboks, who were beaten by Australia. So it's a weird one, isn't it? The way that this rugby championship sits. Because I agree, it seems like they should be able to get 2 wins. But if this competition has been anything to go by, it's just nothing's guaranteed. Shelley sat on the chair, says Xander there. Now Rodney Honor, are you ready to line up this kick? I still think the All Blacks will win. See, I want to say I think they will win, but it's almost more that, like, I hope they win for the sake of people being a little bit nicer, because it's been a pretty ugly 48 hours, I would think, for the Kiwis. Now, Yona, he's hooked it and it's hit the post. It's going to be no try. And the USA now managing to claim it inside of their 22. Who got the championship last year? Last year was South Africa. Did end up winning that rugby championship. Now USA kicking downfield from inside of their own 22. Nice clearing kick. Relieves some of that pressure, but Rodney on. He'll be disappointed not to have put that one over. Hamish likes Razor. I don't like Razor per se. I just hate the fact that rugby's turned into such a negative thing for a lot of people. And that sounds pretty deep, but like, there's some people who I swear just watch rugby to complain about it rather than to try and enjoy the game. And it's got worse over the last, I'd say even last 3 or 4 years. We've seen it on the channel. We've seen it on social media that, just like, it's just a game. But because of people putting money on things to happen and then the controversy that ends up with a call, like if you've backed someone to score a try and then it's disallowed, then that makes them hate the game. And I still think that sports gambling's kind of ruined sport in general, but going off to the right-hand side, little step there, Samoa. Sitting about 40 metres out from the line. I think it's social media plus gambling, absolutely. Oh, that's going to almost be stolen by the USA. Ball sits back up there. There was a knock on. So Hilo was almost through, but it's going to be brought back. It's only a game where you have to be mad, says hockey guy there. I'm trying to think of who else said that, or maybe that was someone, or the one that you said there. There seems to be more pissing on the All Blacks rather than praising the Springboks. Exactly. And it's like, just people should look at it and go, wow, what a second half from South Africa. Because New Zealand, South Africa, we've got to remember, first half, bloody good half of rugby. You know, a few mistakes here and there, but overall really competitive for the two sides and a brilliant start to a test match. Second half happened, and that all seemed to go out the window because everyone wanted to complain more about what had happened. But an early change here. I mentioned about that collision in the middle of the field. You're saying about how it looks like he may have got a knock. I can tell you right now, he didn't just get a knock. He got knocked out almost from trying to make a collision, tackling a prop. So it does mean that Mitch Wilson, he is off the field. We do see Carty make his way on. Joe Schmidt is probably the best coach in the world. Says NZ Riot, and I think the Wallabies will beat the All Blacks once or even twice, a coin flip. A chance for both matches, says NZ Riot. Right, it's actually going to be a penalty now to the Samoans. I wasn't surprised to see the Rugby Championship teams on 2 wins, 2 losses. Absolutely. But at the same time, I think we are in for one of the most competitive Rugby Championships ever. So I don't mind it. You know, I actually kind of like the fact that all the sides are at the same point. Eddie Jones ain't bad either. Yeah, see, people don't like Eddie Jones, but he's a bloody good coach. Whether people like to say it or not. He's done a lot for the sides that he does coach. Didn't quite do it for Australia, but you know, it's not always going to work. And Samoa need 1 try. The game opens. They look pretty good running the ball so far. There's Reeves. And yeah, they're rolling more here. This could be dangerous. They actually used it throughout their other games of the Pacific Nations Cup. Lotero Tolai. Sitting only about maybe 5 metres out now. That one's going to go down at the back. The ball is still available. Now to Pai. They didn't have many players still in the back line due to them all joining into that rolling maul. And we have seen some crazy rolling mauls throughout the weekend. South Africa in their game up against New Zealand doing a 12 or 13 woman rolling maul. Got themselves an advantage every single time. Now, going back across to the right-hand side. Almost got his head on the wrong side there, Piffy Letty. Now to Pai again. Olajuwon Noah. Good 2-man tackle there from the USA forwards, and they get the turnover. It was the big hit from Davis initially, and then the big man, Manu Redlinghus, I believe is how you say that last name. I was trying to think of it in my head. I had to say it a couple times. But yeah, Redlinghus gets a big steal. Did you get the hair clippers out of the cupboard yet? Oiled the blades, says Xander. I'm actually just going to go to the barber. I learned that one that I thought we had in the cupboard hasn't been used for a long time, and it also doesn't work, which is why it hasn't been used. But yeah, I'm hoping to get probably about Wednesday or Thursday, I would say, is when I'm going to be able to get it cut. Eddie Jones has got an eye for talent, says Michael. And also Samoa need 1 point in the game. Need 1 try. And that was almost the chance that they needed there. Just missing out. Oh, thrown in quickly. USA taking it now at line-out time. Chopping down Velehilu. Told to use it now for the number 9 of the US. This one, Ruben de Haas. Going high down towards the halfway line, going forward onto it was Rodney Yorna. And another penalty goes the way of USA. No clear release. Straight in there was Carty, putting the body on the line. The US just slowly working their way back into this game again. Redlinghus says Ruth. Okay, I think there was just a conversation there with the referee about making sure that USA themselves out of that way in the breakdown. I'm cutting my hair tomorrow. Tried to make it self. I tried to cut it self. It was a mistake. You tried to cut it yourself. Was a mistake. Yeah, it's pretty hard to do. Some people are very skilled, but I would find if it was with a mirror, I'd end up going the wrong way and just having an absolute terrible time. But no, we'll get the barber. I'm hoping I get it like half price, seeing as she chopped my hair like 2 days ago. Now thrown in, nicely taken. For anyone who is tuning in as well, that is because I have to get a buzz cut due to the Springboks beating the All Blacks, not because she did a bad job the first time. Although that's probably down to interpretation. Now off to the right-hand side. Oh, jumping into it. Deserved to get tackled in the air. That's not a penalty in my book. Samoa. They've said there, 13 blue. Milani Nanai tackling him in the air. The USA player jumps straight into it though. Some referees do say that is not a penalty. But in this case, they have said yes, it is. And if anything, it actually did more damage to the Samoan player. He was ready to tackle a player. And yeah, just jumps in the air. There's nothing the Samoan player can actually do in that scenario other than what? Step to the side and let him run through and score the try? One of the most ridiculous penalties you see in the game. Did you hear about or hear anything from the All Blacks camp? Not at this point. It looks like actually Nanai has taken a bit of a knock there as he got an aerial flying knee from the USA. Right, Andrew Brace correcting the referee here. He has said he had no option but to tackle him in the air. Time is off here. Okay, there we go. Andrew Brace on the sideline there has just said the player jumps, so the tackler didn't have many options. Springbok forehead tattoo next bet, says V. Maybe not. Although there's plenty of room up there. We can put sponsors on the forehead. Jumping on a tackle should be a penalty the other way around, says Akaris. Yeah, he's literally given the Samoa player a flying knee to the head. They're looking at this one on the big screen. Now, I'm curious to know which way this decision will go. Because I believe the reason that they're looking at this is because Andrew Brace said, no, that shouldn't be a penalty against Samoa. But I have a terrible feeling that this might end up with, because they're looking at it, somehow this is going to turn into a yellow card for the Samoan player, which I really hope is not the case. They are just trying to find the replay here. So they're checking it for severe foul play. This has to be a penalty to Samoa. Don't get me wrong, USA hot attack, almost through, but you can't go giving flying knees to your opposition. If they get a yellow for that, bro, yeah, it would be a ridiculous call. So they're showing the replay now. So here it is. So the pass is high. The USA player jumps in, and I would argue that the Samoan player here put down the USA player as lightly as he could have. Why jump for a flat pass? Yeah, he could have actually taken it without jumping into it. Okay, they're going to restart with a scrum for USA due to no foul play. So that is the right decision. It should have actually been play on at the time, but it will still be the scrum feed for the US. They had already had the ball on the kicking tee. They were taking the 3. A penalty must be reversed if it is a penalty. Jumping into the tackle was against the law of the game, says Akaris. Okay, so it is going to be the scrum to the USA. That jump is good play in gridiron, says Gus. Yeah, but normally the guy who's tackling him in gridiron has a nice helmet to be able to break the knee. Whereas in this case, it was just knee to the side of the head of Milani Nanai. Now, luckily, he is all right here by the looks of it. But it's going to be the USA now who have got themselves the scrum, which, like I said, this is the right decision here. They managed to get to it in the end. The experienced ref on the sideline helping out. That might be the next trick we see for South Africa's play. Just jump at the defenders. The thing is, they were, like a while ago, we saw a few times in a row where things were similar to that happening. And they actually, I think, then adjusted the law because, you know, you can actually milk it till the cows come home, or at least you could. Now it's a bit harder to do because they've switched it. USA players need deprogramming, says Gus. But now the big push there at scrum time. Both front rows popping up. But USA going off to the left-hand side here. Quick hands on the outside. It looks like he's actually returned from the bin with Mitch Wilson. In fact, Mitch Wilson may not have even been the man who went off for the HIA. By the looks of it, the Springboks will be number 1 in the world rankings. By how many points will South Africa be ahead of Ireland? I think by about 1. Also, Samoa trying to get in the breakdown. They don't quite get themselves the steal. 20 minutes through it is still 3-0 for Samoa. Now USA. Find their way through. Passing across again. That's a big chance. And just short of the line again for Mitch Wilson. Now passed across to the left. Trying to get on the hindmost foot. Rush defense from Samoa. They're trying to do absolutely everything that they can to stop this USA side from scoring. Reaching out again. Pick and go from the big hooker. He is almost over the line, but he's going to be held up just short. Ball's still there. Post. They've almost knocked that post over. Lucky they've got the padding around it. Now just short of the line for Paddy Ryan. Now pick and go again. And that is an offside advantage. Now off to the left-hand side. Skip pass out wide. And it will be the try for the USA. Toby Fricker scores the first of the match. Jumping into the tackle. Has been against the laws of the game for over 20 years that I know of, says Akaris. Yeah, see, it's normally the tackling a player in the ear that they got confused for a while, didn't they? Because there was that one, I can't remember what game it was, but if you're tackled in the ear, it's a penalty. But if you jump into the ear, it's a tricky one because there's also, if it's like a chip in behind, I think that was where there was confusion. You know, if you end up doing a little chip and you jump into that to take the ball in the air. So I think it was the more so that it has to be a kick rather than a pass. But the USA, you can see how much that one means to them. Getting an early try here up against Samoa and now leading in this contest. A deep breath being taken. And a kick here for Luke Carty. Originally, he was not even in the starting lineup, but he's made his way off the bench. If Samoa will lose this game, they are out of the World Cup. They are not. But they lose that big opportunity to automatically qualify here. Oh yeah, nice, says Michael. And they've kept their hands and pressure on. Says Aroof, and they did have that penalty advantage as well. Now, I will mention, very risky play there from Eliza Peta Alofipo. The way that he tried to slap that ball away, as it was the wide cutout pass, could have led to a yellow card for him. So it does have to be very careful doing things like that. Image search Barkley, says Gus. Is that like a NFL guy? Maybe. The kick has missed from Cardi, so 7 points not on the cards here, just the 5 for the USA. Big two-man tackle from Samoa. Rolling it back again here. Well, the US trying to get the charge down and does just that. Ben Nini doing extremely well, timing it to perfection, but now Samoa are on the attack. Told to release it out of the breakdown. Oh, it's the knock on though. And Samoa make the little mistake. That's where they have to be so clinical, and that is where sadly they have had a few errors of the past. In that second game up against the Fijians, as the match wore on, they started to have quite a few more errors. And famous jump last season, says Gus. Could they hit the like button, please, people, and subscribe to Kiwi Lads' awesome energy and commentary. Says Ref, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We, of course, will be back for the Pacific Nations Cup final that is taking place next week. And then also alongside that, we have got plenty more rugby taking place. The Curry Cup final next week as well. The semi-finals of the Women's World Cup. It's going to be New Zealand versus Canada on one side of the draw and England versus France on the other. Then Samoa must play repechage. Is that the only way then? Not quite. So pretty much whoever wins this, of course, is qualified for this Rugby World Cup. Then from there, it will be the the loser of this game. They face up against Chile, and then whoever wins that game, they get themselves the qualification, and then whoever loses that game does go into the final qualification tournament, which involves the Sud-America Rugby Championship 2025 third place, which we'll just have a quick look there. Sud-America, I'm looking through at all of the options at the moment. I assume that would be, who would that be? Maybe Brazil or Paraguay, one of those two would be the next one who gets that chance. And then, yeah, there are a few other sides as well. I thought Chile beat Uruguay. Uruguay must have beaten Chile as Uruguay have qualified for that Rugby World Cup. Maybe it was actually a 2-match thing. I know that sometimes happens for the qualification, so perhaps it was the aggregate was in favour of the Uruguayans. And we have there, Chile is probably watching this game with stress. They play loser in the playoff. So here's LA Tens. And yeah, it's just much easier to get this first win and head to that World Cup than having to worry about the stress of one-off playoff matches. If either lose, wouldn't that mean one of them will still get a second chance? I remember Tonga to play Cook Islands in the requalifying of Rugby World Cup 2023. Yep, so pretty much whoever loses this has 2 more chances to be able to make their way through. Now, another knock on from Samoa, and it looks like USA. Nice attack and run forward from Dominic Bisag, and that's going to be the penalty now for a high shot. Come on, Samoa says injured right. And Samoa did all right against Fiji. They certainly did. They were strong throughout the early stages of that game. It is not confirmed, but Brazil hammered Paraguay by 60 last year. Says LA Tens. Okay, so there's still a little bit of confirmation in terms of who will be through. But Chile lost on aggregate. Oh, okay, so it was a 2-match type of thing between those sides. Now, USA have got themselves another line out here. And every time Samoa look promising, they fumble. Yep, and it's going to hurt them. You know, you have to be hanging on to that ball with your attack. And so those little errors they add up big time. Every time that the USA has got their hands back on the ball from Samoa's handling error, they've made meters. 27 minutes in. Nicely taken at the rolling maul was Riddling Hayes. Now slowly moving forward. I think maybe trying to get the penalty there from Michael Curry going a bit too high. Now Rodney Honor, that's a great mark called from that man inside of his own 22. Fumbling can cost the match. Certainly can. Definitely when these two sides are expected to be so even. I do think that is going to be the case right throughout this 80 minutes. Iona does take the quick tap, and now we'll kick this ball downfield. Doesn't look for the sideline, though. Instead, kicks it straight down the middle of the park. Keeps it in the field of play. Now Mitch Wilson up to the halfway line. Low tackle made by Rodney Iona. I have to say, with the exception of that drop ball, he's actually had a very solid game out there for Manu Samoa. Now, right-hand side. And looking for a 50-22. This one's going to be very close. What a kick that is from the USA. Cardi gets it good. And that is now, as long as it wasn't taken back, a 50-22. There you go, USA as a South African supporter. It is nice to see teams. Oh, okay, it wasn't a 50-22 as it was taken back. So it means that Samoa did have themselves a line-out throw, and they have actually gone quickly here. And now looking to get it towards the touchline from Tupai. Oh, that's a great kick. Once again, fantastic work from Samoa on the exit. And nice to see teams not expected to win. Change the odds. So here's Hazel. Yeah, I believe they were $2.80 underdogs here, the USA. So they were the closest to being even with a favourite in this Pacific Nations Cup. We do see Japan heavily favourites over the Tongans. And we see that Fiji are massive favourites over the Canadians. Do you think that the 24 teams in the next Rugby World Cup is going to be exciting? Just hope it's not one-sided matches. There will be a few one-sided matches with the 24 sides, but at the same time, it's going to be awesome to see new sides get opportunities at their World Cup. That one's going to be a kick downfield from Carty again. And now Rodney Iona again claiming that ball inside. His own 22, Lolangi Vizier. I can tell you right now, the Samoans are loving this altitude when it comes to the kicking side of this game. They are getting it down every single time into the USA half. Now I can comment, I'm done. In epoxy in my floor. So here's Robert there. And Samoa do not deserve to make the World Cup, and I'm Samoan. I wouldn't say they don't deserve to make the World Cup, but they haven't played their best rugby. Like, I still think that they are definitely a top 24 side in the world, and therefore should be in that World Cup. And whether or not it's this game, or whether it's up against the Chileans, or maybe even that repechage, I do think that for the sake of the World Cup, you need a Samoa in there, that physicality, that passion of the Pacific Islands. And that is another big rolling maul here for the USA, breaking off the back. Now getting the clean steal there to Pai. That is nicely done by the number 9. The clean out and the breakdown on the try scorer, Toby Fricker, and the penalty goes the way of Manu Samoa. You can't argue, Zimbabwe and Hong Kong are stronger than Samoa, says Big Rig. You can't argue Zimbabwe. Wait, so you're saying that Zimbabwe are strong? Wait, so you're saying that Samoa's the stronger of those ones, right? We have got the I'll take one-sided matches to get Zimbabwe and Hong Kong at the finals. Cheers, Gus. And these are good boots, though. They got the distance. Yeah, they'd normally be all right without the altitude, whereas here they're just having an absolute field day. USA have been pretty good at the sevens. They have, and they were utterly disappointed when they got demoted down to Division 2. I think that they've ruined the seven circuit, to be fair. Not the USA, but just the ones in charge who keep on changing the system. No one wants to see the same sides play each other every single time. That is now what we have in the HSBC 7 setup. Samoa missing 2027 would be tragic. I think losing to Namibia or Belgium or Brazil is unlikely. See, Namibia is an interesting one because they're not too shabby. I do still think that Samoa would have the advantage over them, but I think that would be a bloody good test match that hopefully, outside of a World Cup, we could actually see take place. And in fact, for the World Cup qualifiers, we would. But, a three-match series between those two sides, that would make me pretty happy. Going off to the left-hand side now for Samoa. Have moved into the 22 of the USA once again here. Currently 31 and a half minutes gone on the clock. And guess what? Samoa knocked it on. But they'll go back for the original penalty. This one's going to be straight in the middle of the field. An easy 3 if they want it. Where in America is this match being played? It is being played in Denver, Colorado. We have got there. Happy Sunday, Hamish. And also I thought there might be more scoring in these nice conditions. I think that it's both sides trying not to make those mistakes as well, although to be fair, Samoa have had a few handling errors along the way, but I think both sides are playing a little bit safer. They don't want to end up conceding those early penalties. Okay, so USA captain there. He's just had a bit of a chat there with the referee, Jason Dam, and he's pretty much said, look, we're pretty much basing our timing off their timing, so please check their timing too. And it looks like Rodney Ona will be able to take the easy 3. Well, at least it should be easy. Out in front of the posts. And we're good there. Take the points, keep ticking over. And also, I'm going to make coffee, says Roof. Yeah, it's currently 7:12 a.m. here in New Zealand. A nice early morning start. Same with you guys who are in Samoa. It's greatly appreciated you all tuning in for this game. Rodney Ona gets this one over, making it 2 from 3 for him. And making the score now 6 points to 5 in favour of the Samoans. Just talking about who will have momentum heading into half-time. I'd say whoever gets this next try be in a very good position. The USA in front of that home crowd, though, they would love nothing more than to secure their spot. Now, there are 3 games of rugby taking place at the stadium in a row today. It is Dick's Sporting Goods Stadium. Oh, knock on from Samoa again. What part of New Zealand are you in? I am... The easiest way to describe it is halfway up the South Island, pretty much, or a little bit further south, halfway between Christchurch and Dunedin. Oh, turnover was good, but they will go back for the scrum here due to the Samoa knock-on. That is a common saying in this match so far. We have there, it's 9:13 p.m. in Cape Town night. Says Ruth, the only issues I have with Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, etc. in the World Cup is that they push the limits of fair play. Can be a little reckless, says Darren. True, sometimes they can get themselves penalised, although I think from that last World Cup, they weren't the worst penalised teams that I can think of. I think there were a couple more up there. But, it's just that physicality. Something so different. And it's just pure go out there and try and smash the opposition. And just the passion that they bring to the game, I think, is absolutely incredible to watch. We have their cool, says Kaifa. And also, we have their Botswana won a game in the 80s. Against a combined Zimbabwe club team in a hotel using a light bulb as a ball. Says Michael there. Well, there you go. Now, ready to feed the ball in. And the penalty goes the way of the USA. Now they have a decision to make. Will they be aggressive here? It looks like Cardi straight away is looking at the post. He's had a bit of a nod there. One of the USA backs going right in and telling everyone how good they were in that scrum. But yeah, Cardi is going to give himself a bit of an angle here to be able to slot over the 3. bring the lead back in favour of the USA. I love the physicality of Samoa, says Big Rig. And it's something that maybe throughout this game we haven't seen on display as much as Samoa would have liked. In fact, I think it's just due to those drop balls. Samoa haven't been as smooth out there as they normally would. I'm going to quickly go here. Go here as well. I'm very curious to know whether or not, with USA leading, whether they are now considered favourites in this match. Who's knocking on the ball for Samoa? Sadly, it's not just one guy. There's about 4 different men. We saw Michael Alatoa, who dropped the ball earlier on. We have seen, I want to say, Olajuwon Noah. Those scores, says Mohadin. And that kick has gone over for the USA. They now lead this contest 8 points to 6 over the Samoans. USA are still considered $2.40 underdogs in this match, ladies and gents. They certainly still have a lot of potential here. Look, Cardi just clapping on his side. He will be one of the really crucial members of this USA team. And the thing is, he wasn't even in the starting lineup. He made his way off the bench due to an early injury. But since he's made his way on, I think it's actually been a really good choice. Kicked off from Samoa again. Sitting with 4 minutes remaining in this first half. Beautiful step done there from Ville Hilu. They're aware of the tries, just penalties adding up. Yeah, at the moment, Samoa have got themselves the 2. And then USA getting the 1 penalty over as well as their first try. It was Toby Fricker. And it is the only try that we have seen throughout the whole game. Rolling this one back here for Ruben De Haas. On the halfway line, Lulangi Vizinia to the halfway line. Big shot on him, around the ankles actually, from Corey Daniel. But USA are not scared of a bit of physicality in those breakdowns. As Alatoa playing for Aussie. And Samoa, how did he do that? Says Tamani. See, I'm unsure if that is like a joke or whether you are serious. So he is pretty much, there's 2 Alatoas. There's Michael and there's Alan. So Alan for the Australians and Samoa have got, it is Michael Alatoa. They actually both play the same position. So I sometimes like to say that the reason they are both playing for different teams is because, or else they wouldn't both get a start for their sides. That's a massive run there. Look for the pass, couldn't get it away. But that was massive from Patelo Mapu. And Alan's for Australia. And do it again. Yeah, it was a great chance. And that might have been kicked out on the full there from the US, was it? Just asking the question. Promised then fumble. Yeah, massive run from Patelo Mapu. Just broke through 2 tackles. They had no right to do that. Although one of the USA players, it looked like he may have been tackled. 8 is a beast though. Right. They are checking this. They're saying obstruction on the support runner. I think this might actually be the tackle that was made on one of the USA tacklers. Which is a weird sentence to say, because of course the tacklers normally would not be tackled. They're going to check for, oh no, they're checking for obstruction. To be fair, Pono Davis did make a little bit of contact there. I'm not seeing nothing on the screen, mate. It's the comment there from the referee. I think maybe it was just afterwards. Alatoa brothers, are they twins? I don't believe they're twins. Not that I know of anyway. I think they're slightly different ages. And penalty says, Robert, yeah, was there obstruction? That's what they're trying to work out here. It's going to be shown from the wide angle. And actually, from that angle, Pono Davis does make a little bit of a collision with him here, even before he receives it. There, he does end up touching him. I would argue that he is already playing at his hand before he manages to even look like getting a pass. Yeah, no, I'm not sure about that. I think this could end up being a penalty against the USA. We've got there Johan Hussen as go USA. This is the first time the Pacific Nations Cup to be played on Monday. It's crazy. I thought the quarter and the semi would be on a Saturday. Yeah, I'm actually a little bit confused about why they didn't play these games on a Sunday. I think it is actually just purely down to time zone because this is in the USA. So it means that today for them is actually the Sunday afternoon. Right? It's a yellow card for Pono Davis. Now, I did say that I thought that the US and Samoa could both end up with a yellow card, so they have now got their one, the US Eagles. But now it means that Samoa, they had the easy 3 out in front of the post, and we'll give them the lead back. I believe I just heard the referee say points, so I believe they are also. And just keep that scoreboard ticking over here. Only seen the 1 try throughout this first half. Still 2.5 minutes remaining, so there's still time to potentially see 1 along the line somewhere. But it's getting a little bit later in the half for that to be a chance. Rodney Yona, he has got all of his kicks except for the 1 over today, sitting 2 from 3. Would love to move up to 75%. They got a man up, and instead of a line out, they take the kick. I think that's just down to getting a lead back, though, and also because they've had so many handling errors, it's a bit of a rough kind of risk. I just see South Africa dump the All Blacks 43-10. I did. We covered that game on the channel. And that one, okay, that one's missed away to the side for Rodney Yona. I think they were trying to work out whether or not it actually went over the top of the post or whether it was outside it, and the call is outside. For me, it's 3:25 p.m. in the USA. So here's Robert. There's going to be a 22 dropout now, so Samoa not making the most. Taking that 3-pointer. I'm sure a trooper, shame tired. I got to have a hell of a lot of hours in this weekend, says Ruth. Now 22 dropout for the USA. Carty, 90 seconds remaining in the half. For me, it's 7:21 a.m. in Fiji and Auckland. Says Damani. Now attack and run forward from Patelo Mapu. Already broke through a few other tacklers not too long ago, but with a man disadvantage here, they have to be very careful, the USA, not to leave that gap in their defence. Rodney Yona popping it across Nanai. Now moving it sideways here. Lolangi Vision, pops it on the outside. Tuna Tuitama put on his boot in behind. It will roll into the USA 22. And another clearing kick there from the US. Now for the Samoans, they will have the line out about 30 metres out. Lead man means nothing with 40 minutes to go. But it's their decision, says Robert T. Yeah, I think that they're probably looking at a slightly slower tempo to this game because of the altitude as well. We know how much Samoa did slow down in their last game up against the Fijians as that match wore on. Samoa don't deserve to go Rugby World Cup, says MUNZ. I don't know. Once again, I feel like even with their handling errors, they are still probably a better contender than some of the sides that they will be facing in a repper charge if they were to lose in this match. Next game would be next week. They'd be up against the Chileans for qualification. Now, right-hand side, it's a poor pass from the Samoa 9 to Pai. And now 4 seconds remaining in the half here for the USA. They're just looking to pick and go here. Use up a bit more time for Corey Daniel. And the siren is sounding. The ball is popped out the back. USA kick it into touch. And that'll be the score at halftime. 8-6. The US leading. Still recovering from the 3 a.m. start for ABs versus Box. Says Gus there. It's currently 9:22. At the Tropic of Capricorn. I wonder why the Samoa Alalatoa didn't play for Australia. It would have been nice if both Alalatoa brother played for Australia. I'm not actually too sure of the reasoning behind it, to be honest, but it seems to have worked out quite nicely for both of them. It's always interesting how USA, the most powerful nation on earth, are average at football and rugby. Says Darren. It is, but it isn't. I think at the same time, a lot of the focus goes elsewhere. There's some absolute freak athletes in the NFL and the NBA. And those are the type of guys that normally, if you've got those type of skills in a rugby nation, you go straight into a rugby team. Whereas for some of them, they've only made that transfer recently. Michael Alatoa is amazing. That guy just loves to lose at this point. Says Robert T. It's already half-time, 8-6. Says Biggie Boom. Yeah, this half has flown by. And my sleep pattern this weekend has thrown me out of life cycle. How do you do it, Amish, says Xander? I will say it does get a lot easier. I would say my sleep schedule hasn't been right since the last World Cup. It absolutely destroyed it. And every once in a while we get it all right. But then with every weekend we got at least one all-nighter, so it does kind of go back to broken. We have the Southern Hemisphere and Cape Town, 9:24 p.m, says Ruth. We have there, I just searched it up there, Alan Alatoa's brother, Michael Alatoa. The father is also a rugby player, and Vili Alatoa. Says the money. Who did Vili play for? Was he Samoa or was he Australia? I'd assume Samoa for back in the day. I've got there, Darren. We dream of average in rugby. Says Gus. And so rugby and football, soccer gets third and fourth tier athletes. Says Big Rig. Pretty much, yeah. What type of injury does Alan Alatoa have? What did he have? It was leg injury of some sort, wasn't it? Samoa, yes, says Tamani there. Yeah, currently in this contest, it is close. 2 points separating the US and Samoa. So for anyone who doesn't know, whoever wins this game, they qualify for the Rugby World Cup 2027. Whoever loses plays Chile next week. Whoever wins that game, of course, will go through to the World Cup. Whoever loses goes through to a repechage again, and that is to go head-to-head with Sudamerica Rugby Championship 2025 third place, South America/Pacific's playoff loser, that would be this team, whoever it is, that goes through. Rugby Europe's Men's Champions 5th place, Africa Asia playoff winner. So that is whoever's won the playoff game between the Rugby Africa's Men's Cup runner-up and the Rugby Asia Men's Championship runner-up. So there's still a few more to take place. We have got there Vili Alatoa was my mentor for rugby. Play alongside with Frank Bunce, club rugby with legends like Brian Lima, chiropractor. Says Mark in there. And good morning, Hamish. No work today, busy with rugby. Says Kevin, yeah, the rugby goes right through to about 2:30 p.m. New Zealand time today. We have got there Hamish, how was the back pages? Back pages after the big game yesterday. How was the back pages? Is in like the news articles. I think that there was not a lot of happy people out in New Zealand, to be fair, but it's one of those ones that, like I said earlier on, people are they're gonna hurt for a while for that loss, but then at the same time, there's a rugby championship still to be won. You know, New Zealand aren't in a bad place if they get themselves 2 wins up against the Aussies, which could be tough to do, but this whole rugby championship has been that unpredictable that you just don't know who's going to be sitting at the top of the bunch. But out of Australia and New Zealand, someone needs 2 wins if they want any chance of stopping South Africa from taking out the title. Sports reaction in New Zealand after the result, yes, says Darren. But then to be fair, I've only talked to my mum and my dad in terms of, I haven't talked to anyone out and about. Haven't talked to the other Kiwi lads about the result. Haven't really been on social media because I know that will be an absolute, what's a word that's not a swear word that you can describe? It will be a not pleasant place. Do you know 2 Cents Rugby? I do. We actually had him on the post-match review of the first match between New Zealand and South Africa. Also did a whole 45-minute debate against him in terms of why South Africa would beat New Zealand or why New Zealand would beat South Africa. We have got the I don't think Samoa wins in the second half, cleaned up, and they turn up deadly. Yeah, see, they normally slow down, and that's the worst part for Samoa here. I think that the USA, if their stamina is good, they could win this game. You're both right, yeah, in a funny way. It was a strange one because no one saw it coming. Yes, some people thought that South Africa would fire back with a win of their own, but no one saw them winning by that margin. Mono Chile bossed the USA 4 years ago. Yeah, Chile did qualify, didn't they? Ahead of Canada and the USA for that last World Cup. We have got there Sir John Kerwin wanted to vomit after the game. Says Xander. And we have got there, it is Namibia they beat. The UAE says LA Tents. And we have got there, the loser of this game will beat Chile. No offense to Chile. I think that Chile aren't too bad, though. Are there no longer any Tuolangi brothers play for Samoa? Sadly not. I don't know whether or not there's any younger siblings that they can chuck in the team now, or we might be getting closer to the next kind of era of Tuolangis. But overall, this Samoan side, they have a bunch of physicality. Just whether or not they can quite get it right out there on the field. We have got there, I think Samoa will score a try early in the second half with USA at 14 men. I think that they need to. Anything later than 60 minutes if Samoa are behind, I don't want to say they won't come back, but it will be very unlikely. And how are you after the All Blacks games? You should feel as most New Zealand. I've learned how to show very little, in terms of allegiance to either side in those games. Honestly, South Africa had a brilliant second half, and New Zealand, they got it wrong. It happens. It's rugby. It's a pretty bad mistake to make, but This is what it is. They'll go back next week or the week after, have a crack, see whether or not they can take down the Wallabies. I think that the Bledisloe Cup, that'll be the one that they definitely don't want to lose. Oh, we have got there, hey, says the What's Up Guys podcast. Hello. If you're doing well, we have got there as Reece Sammett playing NFL. He was, but now he's back playing rugby. He's actually going to be playing in England for the Premiership. For one of the sides that did come out of bankruptcy. We have got there, what do you think about the match against Chile? I think that Chile, they will be very fired up for that game, because if they can find their way through to this World Cup like we saw in 2023, they will be more than determined to try and do so. I'm driving to school while watching this. Well, you should probably not be I assume you're typing from a passenger seat. So that's all right. But, of course, do not drive and message in the chat. We have got there, I think New Zealand could win against the South Africa. Says Damani, and it's crazy how New Zealand's biggest ever defeat was a normal demolition. Says LA Tens. We have got there, wasn't worthy for USA to get a yellow card. I think, for me, I was thinking it was going to be a penalty, but it did stop a pretty decent try-scoring chance for the for the Samoans. No guarantee that he was actually going to be able to catch that ball anyway, but I'd say it was still a tricky enough one that, yellow's probably about where they would expect it. And cheers for you from Santiago in Chile. CL Sports there. So yeah, if that game's being shown in New Zealand, we might have to try and cover it on the channel. But yeah, Chile, I was loving watching them last World Cup. And then in fact, they actually, I believe, played Samoa, didn't they? What was the score on the Samoa-Chile match of that last World Cup? 1 second. Rugby World Cup 2000 and I need the 023. There we go. What do we got? So I know that Chile, they had some decent performances. I didn't mind watching them. They were one of those sides that you just love to watch. They did get beaten badly by Argentina. Samoa actually won that 43 points to 10. I think that would be closer nowadays, to be honest, just from what we've seen in this game from the Samoans, as well as throughout their Pacific Nations Cup. It would also heavily depend on where that game is played. 52-10 last match, says CL. And Samoa won Chile in 2023, says CL. And also we have, there was it worthy. Oh no, I read that one about the yellow card. I think USA are having the better game so far, says Ruth. What game was it that I was thinking of from Chile? Oh, it was their game up against the Japanese. They did lose 42-12, but they just seemed like they were trying a lot harder. And when you see a lower ranked side doing well, or at least looking like they want to be there, trying to show what they can do, like that is always a pretty awesome one to watch. We have the rugby pass rated Damien Valimza at a 9.5. You agree? I would say that his attack was definitely 9.5. I was surprised to find out that he actually attempted 4 tackles, missed 2. Because I thought that he was pretty defensively sound throughout the game, but obviously I missed when he was missing his tackles. But no, I'd give him at least a 9. He was one of the better players, if not the best, out there on the field. Why do Canada's women so good compared to their men's counterpart? We did talk about it on that last live stream between Canada and USA in the quarterfinal of the World Cup. It is a little bit similar to why some people, they criticise the men's rugby team for the USA, but it's the same for Canada. Those players do normally go to hockey. It's the big one for the Canadians, or I believe there is also the Canadian NFL, sorry. We have got there, why is Canada's woman? Oh no, I read that one. We have got there, but was our first World Cup in Chile. Rugby is completely amateur. Any player is pro. CL, yeah, and I do think that there is still a high ceiling for Chile in terms of they will just keep on getting better. I actually have a Chilean kit as well. One of the only nations that I have a international rugby kit for. A fella from Chile actually gave it to me. We have got the Argentina are slightly underrated. They've always been a tough team to play against. I think Skulkberger would make a great Springboks coach, smart guy, which former Kiwi player would make a great All Blacks coach, says Darren. See, the thing is, sometimes a good rugby player doesn't make a good coach. So I don't actually know who one of the ex-guys from the All Blacks would actually be that would do the best. I was amazed that Rugby Itch didn't pop in, give us New Zealand Springboks brilliant victory. He has been very busy. He is doing his course at the moment, or his degree, sorry. And make a PO box, and I'll send you an England kit. Says Big Rig, and hashtag justice for Jasper. And people blame coaches always if the team loses, but end of the day, it's up to the players if they showed up for the game. So here's Hazel. And well, I just learned that there's such a thing as Canadian football. So here's Robert T. And this USA is better than the USA of 2023. Hard to say. They're a very, like I said, they're a consistent, inconsistent team, the USA. Sometimes they go out there firing, and sometimes they go out there and don't really turn up. South America rugby is on the up, absolutely. I feel like we are going to slowly see more and more South American nations take to rugby and do very well. We look at Brazil in the Women's World Cup. They got that big opportunity, play up against the top sides. Just showing the Pacific Nations Cup kind of highlight package, or at least the promo package, means that we are close to the second half. 6 points to 8 at the moment in this matchup. There are still 2 more around the corner. What's the crowd look like there? It's not massive, but then at the same time, I believe that because all 3 games are taking place at the same location, as this day wears on, we will see more people piling in. The semi-final match between Tonga and the Japanese is just around the corner, but I do think that Fiji-Canada will be the one that draws a lot of supporters into the stands too. Chile could win playoff. They just beat Romania 40 points to 16 in the Rugby International, says LA Tens. That's a big result too, isn't it? And the players will love coming out of the tunnel to a huge roar. Says the What's Up Guys podcast. Jason Dam, man leading the USA out onto the field. They've got their candy floss, or the cotton candy, I believe it is called in America. And good morning, Amish and the team. Lads and ladies. See Sana, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Only a very close game on the cards here. So far, we have seen 1 card. And that was actually for the USA tight head prop, Pono Davis. Apparently Samoa, they will have that man advantage for the next 8 or so minutes, and they have to make the most of it. Rodney Yona, he is only sitting 2 from 4 off the kicking tee, which is a massive shame because outside of the kicking tee, he's actually been really solid for Samoa. That French versus Irish game was close. Was the game people weren't sure which one would win, says Novmum. Yeah, very close. Ireland doing well, be within the 5. And the match in Chile next September 27th is completely sold out. 32,000 confirmed, so that is a massive crowd for that matchup. And the game started at noon local time, a little early, says Gus. Yeah, so I do think as the day wears on, we will see more people start to pile in for these Sunday matches. Don't the Hurricanes come out of the big tent tunnel thing with the smoke machine? Is it the Hurricanes who do that? I know that they go out on the field with the plane in front of them, like a little, like kind of like remote control, or not even remote control, just like a car that's shaped like a plane. Okay, there, my best pool in the recent is Pool C. Ireland, Fiji, Romania, maybe Chile. Says Damani, I know England would win. Says Novmum, yeah. They did win by a pretty hefty margin too, but that was expected of them. Rodney Yona ready to kick off the second half. Currently, in terms of odds, USA are still underdogs. $2.35. So Samoa are expected to come back into this one. Maybe that is because of that yellow card, but we are back underway, nicely taken by the US just outside of their own 22. Balls available for De Haas, and Red Roses flattened them. So here's Big Rig. Oh, it's a good kick downfield. Still another 7 minutes on Davis's yellow card. Also, the NRL games are going. That affects everything. True. I didn't even thought about that, but yeah, there are NFL matches on, aren't there? Now, backline movement here. Samoa going on the outside. Ball on the inside to will be Alamondo Matonga. Oh, I thought for a second he was going to go for the offload. That is probably the last thing Samoa need to do. They just need to play a bit of structured rugby, which is hard to do when you want to offload. There we go, another offload from Alan, or in fact Michael Alalatoa to Aki Seuli. My brother is watching them as we speak. Sees Big Rig Joe now. Backline movement to Lolangi Vizinier. I watched most of the Ireland versus France and went back to bed with 10 minutes to go. I think the score was 15 points to 13 to France. Says Nov Mum. Little chip in behind from Rodney Yona. That was probably not the right choice. And now the USA do get themselves the position back. We have got there. How do you remember all those rugby players' names? Are you doing your homework? Much respect to you, says Hazel. To be fair, like, it's normally the teams that we don't cover often that I have to look at a little bit more. But for these, like the Samoan boys, a lot of them play for Moana Pacifica, so we covered their games throughout the Super Rugby Pacific comp. That man's got a clock on his arm. He's injured at the moment. I'm trying to work out what time that is on Tommaso Boni's arm. I guess if it was upright, might be like maybe 6 o'clock or something like that. Maybe, or actually might be 9 o'clock. I wonder what that is for. I guess once a day, that clock would be right. I wonder what Scott Robertson is thinking of yesterday. Defeat, he looked nervous answering the sports journalist. Question, it looked like Scott Barrett didn't want to be there. Well, to be fair though, why would you want to be there when you've just been slaughtered? Like, you're not going to go out there and say, yeah, nah, bloody good game, wasn't it? Because or else then you're going to get told, oh, they don't care. So it's honestly a lose-lose. You got to look like you've just been to a funeral, or else people get angry at you for not taking the game seriously. I think Tonga could win against Japan with their best performance. Yeah, they come in as big underdogs, but it's no denying they are a capable side. We've got there how long is halftime. Halftime is over. Currently, line out here for Letero Tolai. It's going to be thrown in nicely, taken off to the right-hand side here for Samoa, sitting 40 metres out from the lining. There's another knock on. This time from Patelo Mapu. And tell you what, USA are fired up about that one. Corey Daniel putting in the shot. We have got there A. Says it was, we'll call you F. I mean that pretty much what the Bok woman did after getting spanked by the Ferns. Says Big Rig. Yeah, although the difference is they were expected to lose by a large margin. So that was slightly all right. You know, and it was their last hurrah before going home. And AB's worst humiliation ever. So here's Sana there. It looks like now another change is about to be made. We do see Toby Fricker make his way off the field. He is the only man who has scored a try in this contest. And the reason for that is because of the tight hip prop still in the bin and Pono Davis. But now currently 37.5 minutes left on the clock. Chance here for the USA to put the ball in. This is where, you know, they will be very happy with how often Samoa have dropped the ball in this game. Oh, another scrum reset here. And referee just trying to sort both of these sides out. We have got there, they'll always have Eden Park. Says Big Rick. And if there was a World Cup B competition, who would you take to win it between Chile, Uruguay, Samoa, Japan, Romania, USA, Fiji? That one you'd probably give to either Fiji or Samoa, I would. Oh, sorry, not Samoa, Japan. All right, I'm back. I went to freshen up. Says Ethan, welcome back. Apparently, there's another scrum reset. We are just waiting for this one to take place. Does seem like it's going to be about a 2-minute scrum. The first thing that Scott Robertson must do is bring Caleb Clark. It's something I will do. Says Mornay, big push from the Samoans. USA now still have the ball though, and a straightening run from Bonnie. Going to go off to the right-hand side. And the more possession that USA have throughout the 10-minute period, where they're down to 14, is the absolute better for them. Now, Ruben de Haas, being told to use it. Chasing after it. Tell you what, bit of pace being shown by Rufus. McLean went up for it, couldn't quite grab it, and it's going to go bouncing back into the hands of Rodney Ona. I think they've got themselves the knock-on advantage here, Samoa. Nine's been told to use it again for Tapai. Costa Michael Curry. I think that's one of the first carries that we've seen from that man in about 40 or so minutes. So one of the first carries of the whole game. Then from there, not a massive amount now. Tapai. Gone Boxic again. This one being chased after by Samoa. Can't get there, but a drop ball from the USA. Tunatui Tama also drops it. I think it will be the knock on first from the US. Then back for the Samoan scrum. We have got there. Do Egypt play rugby? I am not 100% sure whether or not they do. They might be on the world rankings. I think there's about 100 teams in there. Have a look while we've got the scrum reset, seeing as it's taken quite some time each time. Rugby World, 1 second, World Rankings. There we go. Time is off as well. I think they are just checking something here. Or no, they're just checking on one of the players. In fact, so for the men's, how far down can we go? I'd assume if you're Egypt and you play rugby, you'd be about, I would say, 80th. Okay, they're not. Oh, no, they might be here. I was looking at the woman. There's Tunisia. There's Jamaica, Latvia, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, Slovenia. Tell you what, they're a fair way down if they do. Greece is ranked 111th, but I'm not seeing an Egypt in the overall world rankings unless they're much better than I give them credit for. But no, doesn't look like it. And Egypt is not an official World Rugby member, says LA10s. Whenever you come to South Africa, you must taste a Boerewors roll. I do want to go to South Africa at some point. I'm not sure when, though. It'll be an expensive old trip, I would say. Now, free kick going the way of the USA. Just 100 seconds remaining now on that yellow card. We have good there. They beat Benin in 2012. 19 points to 5. And also, would you rather be a rugby player or a commentator? Probably a commentator. Playing rugby is a bit too hard. I'd have to start running. Can you play a song for me, says Ethan? I mean, I don't have any instruments. So it might be a bit tricky. I can make a noise with my hands if I... That's not much of a song. And now kick downfield from the USA. Chasing after this one here for Mitch Wilson. Another knock on from Rodney Honor. And the hands of the Samoans are not working throughout this match, it would seem. Goes Manu Samoa, win this for the nation. We have got there as well. That's the problem with Samoa. They pick each Samoan players and think they are qualified to coach, when in reality Samoa need a specialist who has a professional coaching background. Says iBoss there. Do you think Caleb Clark will add value to the All Blacks? Can add big value on attack, something they need against the Australians. I mean, he would certainly help the team, but he's also not going to, one player's not going to change that 33 deficit. How many minutes left? Still we've got 33 minutes remaining in this one. So a bit of time. Samoa's still only down by 2, but they are letting this one slip a little bit. No, like on YouTube, play a song. Well, here's a fun fact. If you look up the song that you want to hear on YouTube and click on it, it will play. And then there's no guessing work involved. We have there the game is currently in a state of intense development with Egyptian men's and women's national teams and an under-18s men's national team established. Says Big Rick. And we're low games still. Says Mahadania, currently still very low scoring, but do see that the change has happened now. See that Toby Fricker has made his way back on, and that is due to the yellow card expiring, so Samoa not making the most of that period of time. And win this for the nation, Samoan boys. Says Angela, and if they were unsuccessful here, they do play Chile next week. We have there, would you collab with 2 Cents Rugby? We're Australia versus New Zealand. We did collab with 2 Cents Rugby for South Africa versus New Zealand, so quite possibly. But Liliofano making his way out onto the field. He's got that Samoan headgear. Why is the All Blacks playing on the 26th? Springboks are playing under the 27th, says Ethan. If you're looking at New Zealand time zones, it's because it's a kickoff kind of middle of the night. Most games for South Africa are actually the day after than the Kiwis. That is just due to time zones. I'd assume you're looking on maybe like an Australian rugby site maybe, but that is going to be the advantage now to USA after a massive scrum going short side. Little flick pass there from the Haas. Ball back in, but it goes to Tapai. They'll go back for another penalty. How do Chile play? Is that how or who? For who Chile play, they are going to be going up against the loser of this contest. Whoever wins that game qualifies for the Rugby World Cup. And then whoever loses that next game between Chile and the loser of this game then has the repechage to try and get that last spot. We have got there, no you play it, says he's a no you play it. You might as well play it, you know. I don't even know what songs you like, Ethan. We have got there the Samoan flags from Angela and also go Manu Samoa. Looks like USA here, after winning this penalty, have opted to go for the 3 points. I got there the US flags from Tamani there. Okay, they were just making sure he was on the right mark for Cardi. He's been really solid since making his way off of the bench. We saw the early injury of Christopher Hilsenbeck. Do Chile play well? They aren't too bad. I definitely wouldn't underestimate them heading into that next game. And we're able to beat the US for the last qualification of the Rugby World Cup in 2023. Deep breath now for Carty to extend the lead to almost the largest lead that we have seen from any side throughout this contest, even though we've had multiple lead changes. Strikes it, and ooh, that one's gone away to the left-hand side. It's catching. We actually saw Rodney Ona do that same thing. Are you going live for Tonga against Japan or not? We are. We are going to be doing that game on the channel, as well as Fiji versus Canada. We've still got 2 more matches that we will be covering for today. That next game kicking off at 9:35, I believe, which means that it is in about an hour and 45 minutes' time. If Fiji played against South Africa, I would be thrilled to watch it. Says Damani. Now up to the halfway line. USA. Back. And a little step from Toby Fricker. Oh, someone's boot came flying off there in that breakdown. Now away to the left again. Big collision. There's no lack of physicality from Samoa in this game, but a lack of handling has really been hurting it. Now 2 players going up. A great take from Christian Liliofano under the high ball. Oh, Tupai looking off to the side and almost ended up losing the opportunity of kicking that one. And thank you, made the best team win. So here's Angela now chasing after this one. Tuta Tuitama. It's going to be close to the sideline. He makes a big shot on Mitch Wilson. And thanks, Hamish. And all you rugby rockers, I'm fading and need some sleep. I've got an early morning start tomorrow. So I'm going to say goodbye till next time. And I love you all, says Ruth. So we will see you later on. There's plenty more coming up next week. They are going for the box kick again. This is a tactic that the USA are slowly thriving in. They've got to show us the match, says Password. I believe the match will actually be on Rugby Pass TV, if I'm not too wrong. 50-22 on the cards, but it's gone out on the full. Where's the match? Rugby Pass TV is your option there. But also, if you go onto the Pacific Nations Cup kind of social medias and websites, they will tell you where you can watch these games for free, or you might have to pay for them, depending on where you are. I hope Cody Taylor recovered from his injury. They missed Cody Taylor, especially on lineouts, which the Springboks had field day without Cody Taylor there, says Monet Lagrange. Can Fiji and Japan join the Rugby Championship? I think it's been talked about. It may not be in the next kind of 2 or 3 years, but perhaps further down the line. Where are they playing this? This game is in Denver, Colorado. This game is live on TikTok. Well, then you can watch it on TikTok, can't you? You're all sorted. But now, Latero Tolai. I know they found the boot. Okay, so one of the players, I think it was actually Toba Fricker, couldn't find his shoe. But they found it now. It could be an interesting second half, says Ruth. Seeing their own lineouts lost. 1 for each of these sides. 16 total lineouts have been won by the team throwing them in. USA going for that steal, but Samoa picking it up on the short side. Only 52 minutes through, and USA get themselves another penalty. You see a bit more of a celebration there for Vili Hilu. And Samoa is doing very bad in all the other games. Says Mohadin. I also have early start. I have to wake up at 5 a.m., but I don't really care. I'm still going to watch. Says Ethan, and everyone be respectful, not disrespectful to Samoa. Do better, guys. Says Angela there. Or Angela, in fact, it would be. But we're just seeing the USA in those breakdowns. Wasn't much of a release there from Vili Hulu, if you were being critical of that breakdown. It's a big penalty nonetheless for the USA. They now sit 30 metres out from the Samoan line. 52 minutes gone on the clock. This one's very low scoring type of test match, but there's a lot on the line. And neither side want to make that mistake. Off to the left-hand side again for the US. About 22 metres out from the line to Haas. And linking up with Tommaso Boni. And let's go Samoa, says Skyfar. Now right again. Passing across. Oh, nice gap opening up. The needed the pass on the outside, but got a little bit greedy there for Paddy Ryan. And spot the 3 men overlap that they had on the outside. Now running this one sideways for Rufus McLean. 5 metres out. USA already with that 2-point lead. All they need is just one more big try moment and a conversion, and they might be out of Samoa's reach. But that ball's knocked on this time by the US. Samoa's lacking a very basic skills, and that's handling and forced errors. And when they have the ball, they kick possession away. It's definitely a sign showing of lack of fitness. And do you know what the worst thing is? This game's being played at altitude, so it's only going to get worse as this match wears on. Samoa, of course, that gas tank is going to fully be tested. It was a great tackle made by Tupai, though, that managed to take down Paddy Ryan. All he had to do was pass on the outside, and that would have been a certain try for the US. And, man, it's hard watching the Rugby Championship than this. The difference is pretty big. So here's Robert T. We have got there, what did you have for breakfast? I haven't actually had breakfast yet. Handling error is 10 from Samoa compared to the 1 of the USA. So completely different in terms of that handling stat. But the US, as much as Samoa are still dropping the ball as often as they are, they're still only down by 2. So the USA, they would be absolutely kicking themselves here if they let this lead slip in the final moments. Big kick downfield from Lulangi Vizier. We have got there Tongan Samoa win this for the nation. Says Angela. Of course, the Tongans, they're playing at 9:35 New Zealand time. They'll be up against the Japanese. They come in as underdogs. 1 and 5 blue. They are going to get subbed off. So that will be Michael Curry and Aki Seuli. 2 men making their way from the field. This is where that impact of the bench is really going to have to be felt for Samoa. Christian Leliofano, the perfect example of that. Someone who can go out there and make a game-changing impact. And Kiwi Land, do you call it sweets or candy? I think we call it lollies more than anything else. But out of those two, probably sweets, I'd say, is the more common. I just think Samoa fingers are cold. 20 degrees in the heat of the day isn't bad, but their fingers would have been cold all morning. So here's NZ Riot. Now off to the right-hand side again for the USA. That ball does come back to the right-hand side. One more big try, like I said, and this game could be done and dusted, and USA could be booking themselves a spot to the Rugby World Cup. But for Samoa, if there is ever a time to hang on to the ball, it is this last quarter. The right-hand side again. It's going to be the big man, Pono Davis. He should be relatively fresh after his yellow card. Looks like USA again are going for the up and under. Samoa have struggled to be able to defend it. Rufus McLean goes up. Drop ball from Lulangi Vizier, but it goes back with Tupai. The side's against the offload. Again, Samoa just going to have to look to clear this one. They don't actually have a halfback. So it will be Latero Tolai. That's with the pass on the inside. USA looking for the steal. They're told to get out of it, and the penalty goes the way of the Samoans. Usually not good if Samoa get momentum and fired up. First half last week game with Fiji showed that. They can get it here on the second half, says Mark. Is there any players on this field that match the fitness and intensity of the Rugby Championship? Probs not, says Robert T. See, the thing is, there are some of these guys out there who are extremely fit players. But, you know, it's a tricky one when you are on a side. You know, you look at someone like I don't even know who to give as an example here, but someone like a Milani Nanai and that number 13 jersey, I feel like he's got a gas tank that can go all day. But it's no good having a good gas tank if no one in your team can get the ball out to you because the ball's dropped before it gets there. You know, like, there are certain players for Samoa, as well as the US, who, if they could get their hands on the ball 10, 15 times, they probably score themselves at least 2 tries. All that's a loose ball, and it's knocked on by Samoa. This time it was Henry Taiafu who has put that ball down. I'm glad I didn't use him as the example I was going to. It was one of the 2 midfielders. Went with Milani Nanai instead. Man, these lads just can't get points, can they? And it will get more difficult as this match wears on, as the pressure starts to build. You know, you just wonder. I don't know. I think that this could be pretty close to the end score with maybe someone sneaking a penalty. Or maybe even a try at the end if it works out. And man, these lads, I read they won Australia crazy. Ambulance, they call it ambulance. Shopping cart, they call it trolley. Says Tamani, no, we call it a trolley here in New Zealand as well. And ironic, it's because Milani Nanai is actually also a marathon runner. Tell you what, that's a bloody good pick then, wasn't it? Could have gone with anyone in that backline, and I picked the guy who likes to run all day. Now scrum feed for the USA. Again, for the 50th time in this game. Nuts, it's gone down. Another reset. Beating Japan will win the comp, says Johnson. So you going Japan in the final up against going Fiji? Or you going with Canada to cause a bit of an upset in that one? In South Africa, we also call it a trolley. What do they call it in America? It's a shopping cart. It's like that, isn't it? It is a cart, isn't it, in America? We have got there, go the USA. Says Sebastian. We've got there about Chile as well, of course. Going to be in action up against the loser of this game next week. Are both teams showing errors? I think that the USA have been the more clinical in terms of, less handling errors, but they still have been far from perfect, and they've been dropping the ball at the wrong time. Now, front row's going down at scrum time. Penalty this time to Samoa. That's one of their first in the scrums. We have got there, hi Hamish, greetings from Vern. Says Vic and Vern Sports Chat. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Hope you did enjoy. Actually, no. I take that back because I know the score in Man United, Man City, so we won't talk about that one. But hopefully you have been enjoying the other sport that has been on today. Christian Liliofano ready to kick this one towards the touchline. Yes, American shopping cart, says Ethan. That one's gone into touch. I think Liliofano could be an absolute key here. And I do like how Cooper Tupai has played, but maybe Matavao, last 20 minutes, could be a bit of a game changer too. Tomasi Alosio, also on the bench. We see there Lotero Tolai is just making his way from the field. We call it a trolley in Britain too, says Nick. What language is the haka? It is in Maori. Will there be a crossover between Six Nations and Rugby Championship? I think they're doing like a kind of... They're doing the top 12 teams, and they are going head-to-head in the... I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's like some sort of world championship type thing. Eurobasket final, crazy win for Germany. Says Vic and Burn. So hopefully that stream did go well. And yeah, you've been thoroughly enjoying the weekend of sport. Started on an absolute high, of course. When I heard that cousin say, I'm going to Chile, I started laughing and she told that Chile was a country, says Damani. Now they've been told to use it here, and speaking of Malani Matavao, he's on the field. Gets the ball to Henry Teafu. Now I have to heavily rely on Malani Matavao not dropping the ball at all, seeing as I picked him as one of the keys for them later on. Ray Nuia. Now off to the right again here for some more short pop pass. This has to be a try. They've hung on to it. And it is Malani Nanai who does score the try for Samoa. What exactly does it mean in English? Can you speak it? Says Ethan. There is the translation. I won't say it all right now, but yeah, there is like an easy translation to find. Are Samoa really this bad? Well, they are now leading in this game. These Samoans are no offense to the Barrett Bros. Way too many giveaway kicking. Artie should be captain for the ABs full time. And even the college boys levels carries lots pride and passion. Then the AB says Sana. It's nicely done though for Malani Nanai. Matavao's impact, they've just said. But it was the perfect time to be able to score it. And straight away he said to the crowd, calm down. We're not done yet. We've still got to get a few more. That short pass got me. I was watching the guy getting tackled, says Robert T. And constant handling errors is absolutely unacceptable at this level. It is. But somehow now they're winning. I see the moment you shouted open the floodgates. Try was scored, says Xander. And go Samoa, let's play Pacifica Rugby, says Johnson. And see, now Samoa are in a position where they lead this game. 13 points to 8, 5-point lead. One more try for Samoa, and that could change the game. But it was a nice assist as well. I think a lot of credit does need to go to the blindside flanker in this one. Olajuwon Noah just picking the perfect pass. Didn't decide to get greedy and go himself. And congrats to Samoa with the try. You see, okay, there's some happiness on the faces of the coach, but this is where Samoa need to go again. Been talked about so often, their gas tank. How deep does it go? But it seems like at the moment, the bench is what is deepening that tank for them. Now rolling this one back, Malani Matavao going to go for a box kick of his own. And we have there, Yippee, bring on more Samoa. Keep it up, boys. Now kicking it downfield, chasing after the Samoa, going up for it. It was Tuna Tuitama. It's gone backwards, so play on. Now taken by Mitch Wilson. Tries to pass it, knock on now from the USA. And that is, I don't know, this feels like a momentum shift at the moment in this game. They weren't making a huge amount of errors, but now seems like they're starting to creep in there a little bit more. Impact off the bench for Samoa. Yeah, you look at that back line now. You've got Christian Liliofano, who has a huge amount of experience at international level. He's been in important games before. You've got Malani Matavao, just brings that real speed and impact from the number 9 jersey. And even when you look through at the forwards, even Ray Nuia, to a certain extent, he had the carry beforehand that led to a bit of a gap opening up. They've got Abraham Papali'i also to make his way off that bench, which I believe he may have already done, is he? I'm just looking through for that number. He might be in the middle at this point in time. I need just 2 more points from Samoa to cover 6.5, says Reeves. And 2 Cents Rugby is about to reach 100k subs, says Tamani. It's actually a few in the rugby community who I think will reach 100k at roughly the same time. It's about 3 that I can think of that are right on the verge of it. We are, of course, not one of them. But penalty goes the way of USA. Other way around. And that is the mistake and a half from the Samoans. Standing up under pressure. That is a big shove from Bono Davis. Okay, there, let's go Samoa, says Skyfar. And I'll say, you be, bring on Samoa. Keep it up, boys. And settle them well. Cuz Christian Leofano says Sana. This is another scenario, though, for Samoa here, how they are very good at losing a game, unfortunately. And this is one of those moments. Says Rugby is close to 100k. Says Arno. And also we have got there missing another hitman. Oh, sadly injured Theo McFarland. Absolutely. You look at those guys overseas. Someone even, I know that some would say that they're not that high up in Samoa's rankings at the moment, but someone like a Stephen Luatua, a Jordan Tolfua, those type of guys who could bring a little bit of impact. Ben Lamb, you know, like just having 1 or 2 of those key superstar players to help book them the spot through to that World Cup. Now, hopefully these boys will be able to get there. Same with the US. Now off to the right-hand side again. The big collision. Samoa needs 3 tries to get a bonus point, says Tamani. They don't get bonus points from this game. It's just you'll qualify for the World Cup or you play next week up against Chile to try and do the same. Now the US, they are 10 metres from the line. It is the big captain, Jason Dam, in that 5 jersey. It can go. Popping it up again. And this is getting closer here. Samoa scramble defense for now is working. But every single carry for the Eagles, they make a couple extra meters. Samoa says Jordan. It can go again. Dragged down just short by Abraham Papali'i. I think Samoa were asking for the penalty. Referee says no. Samoa step back as the call from the referee. They did not step back, so it is going to be the advantage now for the USA. They step in, they score. It's Luke Carty who does it. He got a knee right in the balls, so he's not feeling too flash. Oh no, it might have been the chest. Either way, he's not going to be happy, but he scored the try for the USA. Just looking a bit of discomfort. Is Sopawanga eligible to play for Samoa? He is, but he is sadly not. Do you think New Zealand and others should create or change the criteria so they can choose overseas players? I mean, it's an interesting one because I know that Razor is an advocate for not having that overseas eligibility restriction. Milani Mataval, coming in with the knees there. Got to be careful doing that. We have got there, took an hour. The teams realised they're allowed to score, says Big Rig. And also, how many players in the injuries for the Springboks? They've got quite a few at the moment. Oh, time is off. Uh-oh. Right. Are they checking for a knock-on here, or are they checking for the double knees of Milani Mataval? Because if they're checking for that, he could get himself yellow carded here. Okay, so both commentators there saying they didn't see anything. But I believe this is going to be for the finish here. Milani Mataval. I don't know if that's actually that bad. Nah. I think it was the case of Milani Mataval's tried to get there with his hands. His hands have actually collided before the knees did. But I don't think that that's bad enough to... Oh, I think they're going to the pocket here. And imagine an enormous Samoan falling onto your balls. Says Big Rig. Yep. Going into touch, and there is going to be the yellow card for the Samoans, I believe. Okay, yeah, so they're saying Milani Mataval used his knees. And we have got the As to whether in Samoa's favour, I don't think it's in either side's favour, really. We have seen a lot of handling errors. Oh, okay. Wait. So it's going to be a penalty at the restart, but I'm not sure if it's a yellow card for Milani Matavao here. So it seems like the USA, they're showing Henry Taifu and now Alamanda Matonga. It was neither of those two men. It was Milani Matavao. But now they'll kick it into touch. Now, it was interesting there because Luke Carty, round the halfway line afterwards, was tapping his head as if to say, yep, knew that one would happen, or something along those lines. It just seemed like maybe, milk it for a bit longer, say that you're a bit sore, and they fell for it hook, line, and sinker. We have got there, the score says Mahadenia at the moment. We will quickly go like that. There we go. So it is 13-15 in favour of the USA. Nicely taken at the line-out time. Now DeHaas going away to the left-hand side. Oh, slammed his head hard on the ground, and it's a knock-on from the USA celebration from Tuna Tuitama. We have got there the Samoan flag from Tyson. Have you ever heard of Australia's Naughtiest Home Videos? I have not, no. I know that there's an America's Funniest Home Videos, but I haven't heard of the Australian version. Hi, everybody. We're back. Says Bruce. Welcome in. And Samoa, says Jordan. There as well. And the Samoans currently down by 2. Now, I will mention, once again, whoever loses this game, their World Cup dreams are not over. They still have a chance. We have got there, come on, Samoa, says Sky. Little bit of time remaining, but not a massive amount. Oh, breaking run forward. Now, 35 metres out from the line, Samoa. Oh, penalty to the USA. Right, this is where you can take the 3 and get a 5-point lead. I think for New Zealand, the money is too little compared to the other, says Haino. I don't think Samoa will go to the World Cup. They still have plenty of chances, though. Yes, this one's going to hurt them a little bit, but then they have to regroup and face Chile next week. Looks like they're going to be lining up the shot at the post here. Luke Carty just doing his shoelaces, making sure they're nice and tight. And limit the amount of errors. Oh, for that boot. We've already seen him miss one today. With the exception of that kick, though, has been very strong. Felt bad for Bro's balls. He actually got hit in the midsection, though, luckily, rather than the middle of the legs. Like in South Africa, the Bulls and the Sharks have big owners. Says Haino. And also, we have got there, whoever loses this game, there will be tears lot, says Xander. I don't think so. I think that if this was the last chance to get to the World Cup, maybe. But this is really, you'd say it's the maybe second of 4 chances. What the hell, no one knows where their knees ends at each tackle. His balls was way too loose. And that one's missed away to the side from Carty. And now he's punching himself in the side of the head. He was doing this 2 minutes ago, pointing at his brain, saying how smart he was, and now he's punching that same brain. We've got their win. Win is the Women's World Cup. The World Cup for the women is currently taking place. And the semi-finals are next week. Oh, short 22 dropout from Christian Leliofano. There is a move of a veteran right there in Samoa, breaking away. Now Milani Matavao. So he didn't get the yellow card. I thought that maybe he was going to get sent off for that earlier infringement. And why is any people in Samoa team is going to Australia? As in like to play for them, or is it in like Super Rugby? Now left-hand side, USA, Carty, going back across. They have got a good backline when it functions, the US, and there's just been a few too many times today where they have ended up dropping that ball. But 71 minutes through, 9 remaining on the clock. USA, if the game was to end now, they would go through to the Rugby World Cup. Long hanging kick there. Lolange Vizier went up for it. He's had a hard collision with the Samoan, or in fact with the USA player. Both men have actually stayed down. So it is 14-on-14 for now. Samoa with Papali'i. Well protected by Henry Taifu. I don't think Samoa want to go too wide. Although Ram on the ball again and gets the turnover. It's actually Dam rather than Ram. He does kind of look a little bit like Franz Stein. We have got there. I like that it is close. Right, time is off because of the players down on both sides. The guy running the TV station famously went, get this off the bloody air now, and then they panicked, and cut to the rerun of Cheers. Says Big Rig. I assume I missed maybe an earlier one about the Australian thing. It was cancelled during its first episode. There you go. And I don't like the idea of better players stepping up close to the World Cup to play for Samoa when they didn't put their hands up now. Samoa doesn't deserve to qualify right now for the World Cup. It is what it is. But then I would still say that the sides that they've got, or the players that they've got outside of this, plus the sides that they will be facing in the future, they are still, I believe, a real contender to make it into this Rugby World Cup. And yes, they have been struggling quite a bit. But I still don't think the World Cup would be the same without a Samoan team. I hope Samoa can make it. I remember watching the epic win against Wales in the 1991 World Cup. All right, looks like now USA have changed their mindset. Carty's not feeling confident off of the kicking tee, so they are going to kick it for the corner. One of the commentators has just said, we got to score, we got to get into the end. It's very unbiased. Our games did Samoa lose. So they lost both of their games in the Pacific Nations Cup so far. Same with the USA. So someone, of course, will get themselves their first win here. This has been a close contest. That's the only good thing about it. Says NZ Riot. And 8 minutes left, 2 points difference. It's a good game to be a qualifier, says Xander. And yeah, if you're Chile, honestly, Chile will look at this game and go, both sides have made drastic mistakes. Time in the opposition, 22. I believe that's 201 seconds for the Samoans and 130 seconds for the USA. But now the rolling maul breaking off the back. It will be the replacement 16 who gets that little bit closer for Caleb Gasia, I believe it is. Now off the side. This is close for the USA. 3 meters out from the Samoan line. They've got 7 minutes to work here, but if they score now and convert, this game could be done and dusted. For Samoa, they'll have to come back, regroup, and play Chile in the next contest. Now off to the right-hand side there for the US, thought about stretching out. Another pick and go. He managed to get the crucial turnover not too long ago. Has he got that one down? Tell you what, that angle looked good. I think that's down for Jason Darm, and this might be the end of the game. And Samoa squad won't be the same if they lose as this temporary squad, says Mark. Yeah, it'll be intriguing to see what happens with that squad heading into Chile for the next match. Right, I think a certain camera angle there looked like that ball was down. Samoa score here. It's ball game, says Big Rig, and the same can be said about the US. Are you doing Chile game next week? I would like to if it is being shown here in New Zealand. We'll have to try and do something with it, seeing as we have covered those two sides playing off before in the Rugby World Cup. They need to prove that it's a try. And I think that one angle there will show that Darm did get it. Of course, we have got another game just around the corner, ladies and gents. It will be the match between Tonga and Japan. Oh, did Samoa manage to slap that one? No, it's still in the hands there of Darm. So it hit the line. If it hits the line, it's over. It would be the try. His head certainly went over the line. We see him face planting the turf there. So it's going to be a benefit of the doubt scenario. Oh, I think he went to touch that ball down. Darm is going like this to the crowd to try and get them to cheer so that they think it is down. But that's very hard to see because I believe initially he tried to place the top of the ball down and a Samoan hand kind of slapped down in front of it and said, no, you don't. Now, to me, that might still be inconclusive. They need another angle here. This is a hard one. And I would say there's clear grounding, but there's no guarantee it's over the line. So this is going to be literally down to what the referee wants or what the TMO sees. And also, I don't actually know what the on-field decision was. But I would assume it was no try by the call from the ref. Loser of this match immediately plays against Chile. See Xander. Right. There's a USA chant going round the ground. Darm is saying it's a certain try. Referee's running towards the line. He's nodding his head. This seems like they're going to give it as a try, and it is for the USA. Now, That gives them the 7-point lead. This kick is now absolutely crucial because I don't even know what happens if we go to a draw. So it's just easier if someone wins. And the US, congrats, says Big Rig. And this should be a nice, easy kick as well. Nothing too crazy for Mitch Wilson. One of the easier kicks of the day. And USA says Stefan Smith. Oh, calm face from Mitch Wilson. And he's got it over. So that will give the USA now, with 6 minutes remaining, 22 points to 33. I thought that one was going to be charged down as well. Samoa right in the face of the US Eagles. Kickers minutes left, says Valley. At the moment, there are only 6 minutes remaining on the clock. So Samoa either need a 3 or a try. They've gone short, and they've got a scrum feed here. USA knocking the ball on. And bugger that stupid call, refs. And nice USA, says Michael. And USA from RJ. Game, set, match, says Hano there as well. Although the US have just given them half a chance here, being able to get in it. I have their Y22. There's Mujahideen. You can see the little fist pump there from the USA coaches. Oh, there was a handshake almost being exchanged, but instead one of the coaches slammed their hand down. He said, don't do that. We'll wait till after. It's becoming a try festival. Says Darren, it's nice to see some more tries. Says Big Rig, ball fed in by Samoa. They've got 5 minutes now on the clock. Quick hands, and Lolangi Vizier knocks it on. It's going to be advantage over. Chasing back is Tuna Tuitama. He's dropped the ball. Picked up by Rufus McLean, who can't quite get that offload away by Tuna Tuitama. Right back on the ball. And didn't get the steal. Now the US, all they have to do is run it in, and they do. And it's another try. Caleb Gager, and you can see the celebrations now for the US. If it wasn't already confirmed, it certainly is now. USA are booking their flights to Australia for the 2027 Rugby World Cup. Do you think we should get rid of Scott Robertson, says Highlanders fan? I think if they get rid of Scott Robertson, they'll probably sack the next coach as well. But, nah, it's one of those ones, I don't know what they have to do. We've got there, this looks like a hiding now, because individual players are bad, says Robert T. And the Samoan flag's there from Tui. And let's go Samoa, not over yet. And sadly, that was 30 seconds before Samoa did make sure that this game was over. So the Samoans, they will be playing Chile next week. That will be a qualification match for the Rugby World Cup. We are hoping to cover it on the channel if it is available somewhere. I would have predicted this score at halftime, says Big Rig. Yeah, it's just run away from the Samoans, and the strike has gone over. And the thing is, with those conversions as well, that gives the USA now a lead of 16. And they qualified, so my World Cup trip won't be ruined, says Jeremy there. And Chile is going to win, says Mujahideen. How do you think Samoa feel being beaten by USA? Oh, I'd assume that they're not happy. You know, they'll be a bit disappointed. And go home now is embarrassing. They can't go home now because they've got to go to Chile to play up against them for the next World Cup qualifier. Now back to the right-hand side. This is where they can just look to close out this game. Just the 3 minutes remaining. And the Samoans had a little sleep. See, here's Big Rick. Manu Samoa is turning into the 7s. See, here's Robert T. Kick downfield now from Dahas. He looks like he's going to play the full 80 minutes here for the USA. Another step for, I believe it would have been Tomasi Alosio. USA has qualified. It's needed for USA Rugby. Exactly right. The fact that the USA are hosting the 2031 Rugby World Cup, being in the 2027 one, is a massive plus for this US team too. Now backline movement for the Samoans. Little grubber attempted in behind from Tomasi Alosio. In fact, that was actually Abraham Papali'i. We have got there, shut up and cheer, says Tui there. And we have got there the Samoans kicking off in 10 minutes time against Chile for another qualifier on the B field. Says Andrew, no, they do play them next week, when they'll go head-to-head with Chile. Now, Samoa decide to take that quick tap. Malani Matavao, another offload. And on the outside to, once again, Papali'i. And you wonder who will be changed for the Samoans in just 1 week. No loser Samoa or Chile. Still one more change. Says Stefan, yeah, they still have one more chance of going through in the other repechage. But, of course, you want to get that one-off victory more than having to go through that tournament. Now on the outside, Tuna Tuitama running down the wing, can't quite get his offload away and is held on to there by the USA player. Now, Alamonda Matonga. Over the ball, though, for the US. That is nicely stolen in the breakdown from Dominic Bissac. And if Samoa lose against Chile, what happens? Then they go into the other competition, which is a further repechage. Now, USA kicking this one into touch. And in that final repechage in November, it is the 4 sides that play off in a mini tournament. If USA win, needs to be sacked ASAP, says iBoss. And also, we have got there, Samoa need to play Chile at even higher altitude. Yeah, if it's in Chile, it's going to be a tough one. Oh, here we go, TMO. What is this one going to be for? And Samoa Chile will be epic, says Gus. Yeah, we'll have a lot of meaning there in Chile first, says Mauricio. They've said this one won't affect the outcome of the match. But what are we going to see here? I assume it's a shot. Oh, okay, so Tuna Tuitama does put in a shot, and it has hit the head of the USA player. He is just in there trying to protect the ruck. It is side of the head. This might be a yellow for Tuna Tuitama. Imagine if he gets a red here. And that means that he would be out for that next game. No qualification match for that man. We have got there the worst Samoa team ever, says Skyfar. And I think it's going to be a fist fight, Samoa and Chile, says Tamani. And when will the Springboks be flying back home, says Ethan. I'd assume that it will be in the very near future, but the penalty is going in favour of the USA. And number 11, he will make his way from the field for 10 minutes. Okay, they are calling over. No attempt to wrap on the tackle, so he will get sent off, just a yellow for Tuna Tuitama, which means he will be able to play next week. Like they've said, it's just that frustration for Samoa. Trying to get that ball back in the breakdown after just losing it. US now with 50 seconds remaining can just look. Close out next game, please. The next game is going to be between Tonga and Japan. And that one's going to be kicking off in around an hour's time. We are going to be covering that one on the channel as well. So anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got there Chile first. But now the line out. 30 seconds left on the board. Not going to be too difficult, I wouldn't think, for them just to be able to close out this one without too many issues, the US. Like they have said there, if they get their ball back at line out, all they need to do is from there just go 1 or 2 phases. And then should be the end. And Colorado to Santiago. It's a hell of a trip, says Gus. And absolutely useless Samoa, says James. And yeah, this is a game that, split by 16. No one saw that coming. But at the same time, Samoa, this is not their last chance to make it to the World Cup. They will get to play next week up against Chile. That one kicked it a touch, and the USA celebrating it there. And they are through to the World Cup in 2027. Still more opportunity for the other sides, but of course this is one that Samoa would have loved nothing more than to win. With the USA thoroughly deserving of it. They were the more clinical side out there on the field, and those big moments, about 3 minutes in a row, where they managed to get themselves 2 tries back-to-back, completely changed the match. Oh, we have got there, dude, I'm shocked. If these players actually make a living off rugby, says Robert T. And we have got there, have you gone to an All Blacks match? I have not, no. But 29 points to 13. Samoa defeated. The US going through. USA celebrate while Samoa in tears. I think that Samoa will know that they should have done a lot better there. We saw there, I thought, oh no, never mind. I thought he was actually one of the Samoan players, but it was just a bib that one of the USA players was wearing. So I was thinking, geez, he looks more happy for them than some of the USA guys. But Ray Nuia, nice moment there, just having a conversation with Ezekiel Lindenmuth. Of course, some of you guys will remember that man's name from the NPC. But nonetheless, now is time. We are back at it again for Japan versus Tonga. Anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And we will see you all for the next one.